Like I'd name my car after someone from Next Generation.
Hey everyone, welcome to another Muddled Dice. Tonight it's me and Sarah, and we're going to be talking about I almost said Star Wars, Star Trek Discovery, which is, I think it's the first new Star Wars show in 15 years? I think you were saying earlier, Sarah?
Yeah, I think it's like 15 or yeah, like 10 or 15 because I don't know when did Enterprise end. It was a
Well,
while ago.
Enterprise ended a while ago. Yeah, let's see. Let's go start the show with a Wikipedia search. Let's see, Star Trek
Yeah, 2005.
2005. Okay, so it's the first series in 12 years.
That's a pretty good gap.
Yeah, it is. And this one, it takes place, so Discovery takes place before the original series, right?
Yes, yeah, which I did not realize when I first started watching it.
I didn't either, yeah.
Yeah, because I was that first I think the very first scene, I was like, I feel like they're playing a little fast and loose with the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even call it the Prime Directive, and I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
So then I had to look into it.
Yeah. It felt to me, I'm like, oh, they kind of seem like the old Wild West Federation, like on Enterprise, when it was kind of like
Yeah.
just getting started and they weren't very strict with the rules.
Yeah.
Well, and also when Spock's dad showed up, that was like, oh, okay, it's got to be like before or around the same time as the original series then.
Wait, who's Spock's dad?
Um, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Cernak?
Like the only Vulcan on there?
Yeah. Who trained the main character Michael?
Okay, see, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. Well,
So,
the name
okay,
sounded
that's
familiar to
interesting.
me, so I had to look it up. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Spock's father. So like that's kind of cool. He was Michael's mentor.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Yeah, I didn't make that connection.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah, so I was definitely thrown off at first until I figured out where it fell in the
in the timeline.
timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, okay. So my quick thoughts on it. I really enjoyed it. I think it's too early to tell if it's gonna feel like a true Star Trek. And I'm a little concerned with how the second episode ended. So I guess we should tell listeners, the third episode is already out by the time we're recording this, and depending on how much time I have, the fourth episode might even be out by the time you hear it. But we've only seen the first two episodes, so that's all we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah,
all
the
of
way the
that.
second episode ended kind of concerned me. So, what did you think?
Yeah, I definitely feel split on it. Like you said, I feel like it's too early to quite say. There's definitely some things that ring ring a little. There's definitely some things that ring a little false
Mm-hmm.
to me. But then there were some moments where I was like, yeah, I'm feeling this. This has the Star Trek vibe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand too how they might not want it to feel okay. To me, the heart of Star Trek. I almost called it Star Wars again. The heart of Star Trek is the kind of philosophical and interpersonal dramas. Wrestling
Right.
with ooh, do we follow the Prime Directive or do we not? Because maybe not following the Prime Directive it would save people, but if we follow it, we're gonna doom this planet to extinction. So there's that, or
Right.
other cultures and stuff, and I feel like that's a hard sell though for the first episode of a TV show if you're trying to get a big audience. And I understand why the
Yeah.
first one was a lot of action and a lot of incredibly beautiful visual effects.
Yeah. I mean, that is nice. The friggin' visuals were
Yeah,
stunning.
yeah, they
Especially
were.
compared to what we're used to.
Yeah, even compared to Enterprise, which was only 12 years ago, the visuals are just leaps and bounds ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We've come so far since then.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
But
so
yeah, I see what you're saying. They kind of want to I think part of it was like they wanted to grab your attention, probably.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
they probably wanted to, they don't want the watchers to just be Star Trek fans. I'm sure they want
Yeah.
to get in some new viewers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
but I do feel like you kind of have to be careful with that because there is like that like certain something that's like Star Trek's charm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't want to lose that, which I kind of feel like the recent movies, I enjoyed them, but they didn't have like that whatever thing
Yeah.
that makes Star Trek itself.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. I'd be a little concerned if these took, excuse me, more of a cue from the movies than they did from the previous series.
Yeah.
I do think so, but like the thing that concerned me about the ending of the second one is how they seem to just effectively erase everyone's character except Michael. Like they built up,
Yeah.
they like used 2 episodes and kind of gave backstories to like that one Klingon leader, not the
Yeah.
not Volk, the other guy.
Tukumva, I think,
Yeah.
or something like that.
And they gave like the captain a little bit of backstory and like the other and like that tall alien guy on the ship. And then
Right.
like, oh, that they're all gone now, which like, oh, I kind of I like those I kind of wanted those characters to continue, and learn more about them.
Yeah, like it felt like a little bit of a waste.
Yeah, yeah,
And also the fact that, okay, well, how are they gonna? It'll be interesting to see how they get out of that, because obviously the show is not gonna take place entirely in prison.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think did you see the like the little after the second episode they had like a little what do you call it, like a preview of the next few episodes?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Okay, so I think it looks like what they're gonna do is kind of like, for some reason, like Michael is gonna be important to some mission, so they're gonna like give her like a parole from prison and put her on this other ship, the Discovery.
Oh, okay.
So kind of like in Voyager, like what they did with Paris and the Macaw, not Macaw, Maquis?
Right. Yeah, the Maquis.
The Maquis. Yeah, I've been watching that show, and it's like, but it's like, oh no, the name escaped me real quick.
Right. Yeah.
So it kind of looks like that's what they're doing, which
Okay.
could be interesting. I mean, if it sets up
That'll be interesting.
more like interpersonal dramas, where like, she's a prisoner, and like, does she really fit in with these other like straight-laced Federation people? That could be interesting.
Right, and especially the fact that she, like attacked a superior officer. I feel like
Yeah,
it's gonna.
yeah. I hope they don't just like forget about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm trying. But this is supposed to be the same universe as the other Star Treks, right?
I believe so.
Or the same reality? Because the movies aren't they technically a different reality?
I think some of them are. I'm
Or
not.
like the current ones is what I.
Oh, I don't know actually. I'm not sure.
Okay, I think they are. But yeah. So I think one of my
Uh,
first issues was the Klingons
yeah.
and how they looked.
Yeah, that was weird.
Because now I have zero issue with them looking different from normal Klingons,
Uh-huh.
because it's very close to the original series.
Hmm.
But I feel like they should have looked closer to the original series. I feel like Enterprise made a point of kind of explaining away those differences.
Right.
And so I kind of feel like they should have at least attempted to keep that solid.
Yeah, especially because I mean, like Enterprise took place before the original series, but it took place
Right.
like what, like 400 years before the original series or something. And like,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Uh,
No, I
uh,
don't think it was that long, but
oh really? I thought it was okay, let's see, back to Wikipedia. But anyways, but like Discovery, doesn't it take place just like 30 years before the original series or something? Like not even a generation.
yeah, not even. I was looking at the timeline, and I'm pretty sure like at this point, like Kirk has been born.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's very close.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why they felt the need to make them look different, especially when it's like almost contemporaneous with the original series.
Yeah, they should have made them. Yeah, so I don't know. That kind of threw me off. I didn't like that because I loved the Enterprise explained that,
Yeah, yeah,
because there's such a striking difference, obviously.
right.
I mean, I like the fact that it takes place in a different like time period. That's one of the things I liked about Enterprise.
Yeah,
And I think, me, my favorite series have always been the ones that are a little different.
right,
So like Enterprise and Deep Space Nine.
right.
So like I do like that aspect of it. I'm just interested to see where it will go.
Yeah, yeah,
And if it's gonna turn into like it's just gonna be straight action, or is it gonna be more um like you said, more philosophical, character driven?
yeah, yeah. I hope it doesn't just go pure action, because I think if
Yeah.
it does, it'll flop, because
Yeah.
I mean there's like, we've already got like tons of generic action movies and TV shows, and I think if it abandons the heart of Star Trek, it's going to lose a lot of old fans, and I think even new fans aren't going to see anything different about it to keep watching it. So,
Yeah.
and then if it flops, who
That makes
knows if we'll
sense.
get another one to give it another try.
Yeah, yeah,
So there's
absolutely.
kind of a lot riding on it.
And I kind of, why did an Enterprise didn't last that long?
No, it
Do we
was
know why?
it was only 4 seasons. Let's see what Wikipedia says. Let's see. Founding blah blah blah. Here we go. Cancellation. Series was considered for cancellation at the end of the second season, uh, but executives instead requested a number of changes in order to renew it, following a letter writing campaign from fans. Let's see. Oh, let's see. These included a change of name to Star Trek Enterprise early in the third season. Oh, that's right, because it was originally just called Enterprise.
Oh yeah.
And a new action-oriented plot, which resulted in the development of the Xindi. Major turnover of staff at Paramount. Uh, oh, and apparently the Star Trek guy at Paramount uh, was either fired or let go. So
Oh, okay.
it looks like it says UPN was purchased by CBS, and then they moved Enterprise to a different slot. So
Yeah.
wow, it
Sounds like it
sounds
was just kind of a hot mess.
yeah, it was a perfect storm of like things conspiring to
Yeah.
cancel it.
And did it? Because I was not into Star Trek at that time, and I don't know if you were.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Because I feel like with this, I don't know how it was with Enterprise, but with this, I do feel like there's been like a lot of build up, and like people knew it was coming, so people were kind of excited about it.
Yeah, yeah, actually, I don't. I mean, I'll just have to trust you on that, because I didn't know about it until I saw the commercial for it 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had no idea well, because I don't
Yeah.
have cable TV, so.
Yeah.
But it is kind of weird that I didn't stumble across it about
Yeah.
anything about it on the internet. That is kind of weird, but
Yeah, that's kind of funny.
yeah, no, I saw the commercial on TV and I was like, oh my god, there's a new Star Trek.
Yeah, so it looks like Discovery is like roughly 10 years before original series.
Oh wow, okay.
And about yeah, it's about like 100 or so years from Enterprise.
After Enterprise. Oh, okay. What? Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought Enterprise was so much longer before the original series. And
Maybe
the
you were
next,
thinking
go on.
go ahead. Maybe you were thinking of First Contact? Like when they
Oh,
that from Cockrum and all that?
yeah, yeah, I might have been thinking of that. And and the next generation was also a couple hundred years uh after the original series, right?
Yeah, yeah, it looks like about 100 years, so
Okay.
yeah, there's some good gaps.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Um,
like Next Gen and Voyager and Deep Space Nine were all kind of roughly the same time period.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is one thing I was a little disappointed about with Discovery is like even with all these new series, the next generation is still the furthest Star Trek in the future. Like we haven't, no one's gone beyond that, the
Right.
that timeline. It'd be interesting to see like way into the future.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the so Deep Space? So there's like the Dominion War, I know in Deep Space Nine,
Mm-hmm.
and then like events of Voyager, but they didn't really have any. They're
Well,
what's the word I'm looking for? Go ahead. Maybe you
uh,
can explain.
well, no, I was just gonna say Voyager because because Voyager is in Delta space. It's like the events of like the rest of the Star Trek universe kind of don't seem to play that much into the events of Voyager just because they're so far outside of Federation space.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Um, so like we don't really know. Yes, I feel like the Dominion War, the end of that, is kind of as far as we know.
Yeah, yeah. It would be really cool to see after that. I'd also see
Yeah.
like the new. It'd be interesting to see new technologies introduced into the Star Trek universe because we're also used to like the transporters and replicators and phasers
Right.
and all that. It'd be kind of cool to see them explore like okay what's after this. What
Right.
I don't know
Yeah,
what they
that
could
would
do,
be.
but
Yeah, I'm sure they could come up with something.
yeah,
Um, but I kind of always like going back though, because
yeah.
I'm a big fan of prequels. One of my greatest wishes for Game of Thrones is that they'll go back and show it and do like a series of like Robert's Rebellion or something.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
interesting.
yeah, I think that'd be amazing. But anyway, I think they said that's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't really have a problem with it taking place beforehand. It's just I do feel like they kind of box themselves in.
Yeah, it definitely sets rules and restrictions about about what they
Right.
can do and stories they can tell and even like set dressing.
Yeah, yeah. And just like the Klingon things, we already have an issue with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's kind of weird too. Like even setting it so close to the original series, it feels like they did box themselves in more than even like Enterprise did, because there were
yeah,
like in Enterprise they still called things like they used the phrase Manchara class planet instead of M class, and like
yeah,
okay, that makes sense because they were 100 years before the original series, so like it makes sense that there'd be some differences, and like like you said, the Federation was a lot more loose with their rules
yeah.
than before, and or well, I guess than after rather. So I feel like Enterprise had more leeway to play things a little looser because they were so separated in time from the other series. But Discovery,
Yeah,
like, it's only 10 years. There's not, unless they put some huge timeline altering event in the middle of the series, it's they do kind of have to play really close to the to already established
yeah,
norms.
yeah. That was kind of an interesting choice to make. I wonder if they just really wanted to do the Federation Klingon War, and so therefore they kind of had to make it
Yeah,
that time.
that's a good point. Yeah.
Um, and I mean, it is Star Trek. They could always throw in a timeline change and just be like, well, this is what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, it's like yeah,
Um,
they do that in comics all the time. It's like, oh, the Flash messed up the Speed Force, so now everything's different.
yeah. So, I didn't. So when they put the bomb in the body
Mhm.
of one of the Klingons,
Mhm.
that did not feel very Starfleet-like to me.
No.
Using, they're gathering their dead, and that's when you choose to attack them when they are in
Yeah.
fact not currently attacking you.
Yeah.
Like that seems very un-Starfleet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was
So,
So it's been a couple weeks or a week since I saw it.
mm,
Was that the captain's decision to do it, or was that I'm trying to
it
remember the
was.
exact details, or was that Michael's?
I'm pretty sure it was the captain's decision.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's a little muddled in my head right now, but yeah,
yeah,
they do seem a little maybe it's just that captain, but
Yeah,
she did
that's
seem a
true.
little more. I can't think of the word.
Harsh, I guess, or
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
But and then that's kind of one of the things I'm concerned about with the show is that like in their efforts to make it quote unquote modern
yeah,
and maybe even like maybe they're trying to make it darker, it's going to get like too far from
yeah,
Star Trek.
yeah. I don't mind when Star Trek gets dark, but usually like the best dark episodes of Star Trek aren't just like like gory and like brutal things. They're more like existentially dark, or
Yeah.
like there was that one episode of Enterprise where they come across this culture where like there's three genders and um three biological sexes, and like
Mhm.
one of the biological sexes is basically just a slave to the other two to like facilitate reproduction, and one of the crew members is like meets one of them and like shows the alien all like all the cool things like on the boat, on the ship and stuff, and things like
Right.
ocean and stuff, and then like it ends and like he's got to go back to being a slave, and like
Oh,
it was a dark sad episode,
I
but
do
it
remember.
was.
I don't remember that one.
Oh
I'll
man,
watch it.
that's a good episode. But like it was dark, but it was interesting, and it wasn't just
Right.
like we're gonna be dark by putting a bomb in a dead body. you know, I mean,
Yeah. And there's like, I mean, there's definitely been times when Starfleet captains have done things that are not right,
yeah,
but like I feel like they struggle with it more. Like the
yeah,
episode of Deep Space Nine. I remember like Cisco involves himself with Garrick, I
hmm,
think, to try to bring who are they trying to bring into the war? I think the Romulans.
okay,
And then Garrick kind of like ends up going a lot further with it than Cisco had intended, and there's I think a Romulan ship ends up exploding.
hmm,
Um, and then kind of at the end, it's like Cisco was like, "This is, do I actually feel bad about this? Because this is what we needed. We needed the Romulans in the war.
yeah,
Am I
yeah,
going to tell anyone? No, I'm not." But he struggled with it so much,
yeah,
which made
yeah,
it good. Whereas this was just kind of like, we're gonna put a bomb in the dead body, and I was like, oh, is that what we're doing now?
yeah, yeah, and I don't know, like maybe it's. I mean, I hope it wasn't just like done for shock value, and like it's if it's like a commentary on, well, okay, before this war, like the attitudes towards the Klingons were much lower. They
That could be.
maybe they didn't consider them like. I'm trying to think. They didn't consider them to be on the same level, so like they didn't have respect for their rituals.
That's
And
true.
so
Yeah.
maybe there will be something, because it also takes place. Um, it's so there was already a war with the Klingons, right? And then they disappeared for for like decades, right? That's kind of the
Yeah.
impression I got. Like
Yeah.
they were scattered, right? Like the 12 houses were scattered, and that was the whole thing that Volk was trying to do, was like light that beacon to summon the 12 houses.
Yeah. Or no, it was 24 houses,
Oh,
right?
24, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're fine. Yeah, and I was trying to think because I was really trying hard to remember, you know, aside from what role the Klingons played in Enterprise, aside from the whole augments thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I kind of got nothing. So I'm thinking that that war must have taken place after that.
Yeah, it must have taken place between Enterprise and Discovery, and so maybe
Yeah.
maybe in these 10 years before the original series, like those wounds and that anti Klingon zealotry is like still still very strong.
That could be. Yeah. I mean, well, like when you look at like Deep Space Nine and Miles O'Brien's, you know, issues with the Cardassians because he fought in the
Yeah,
Cardassian War prior
yeah,
to that.
yeah. Well,
Um,
even on Voyager, actually, I just watched the episode where B'Elanna has that like parasite attached to her, and
Mm.
they make a hologram of a Cardassian doctor who can fix her. And she's like, I don't want him working on me, you know?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it could be something like that.
Yeah.
That would be nice if they put something like that in there.
I hope they do address it, yeah, and not just like, oh yeah, this is the darker, edgier Federation.
Right.
Yeah.
10 years before, troubles with tribbles.
Right. Right, yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, that could be good though.
Yeah, yeah, I hope they do address it. And it seems like, I mean, like I've been following the Star Trek Writers Room on Twitter, and they do seem engaged with the audience, and they seem like they're. I don't think they're just putting out like a give me money and I'll write a script, you know. I mean, obviously they're being
Right.
paid. I think they're trying to put out a good product, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's always good.
Yeah.
I think it'll. Yeah. I mean, if they're kind of tuned in to the fan base, that's
Yeah.
always a good sign.
And it seems like, I mean, to it would be a huge mistake not to, because it's not like this is just one movie that like if it's a failure you can write it off. Like they're trying to do an entire television series, which like I don't know. I assume they're planning and hoping for multiple seasons and not just like 6 episodes like sometimes
Yeah.
happens. So you know, Star Trek has
Yeah.
a huge and dedicated fan base, and it seems like you'd want to be careful not to just do something stupid with such a beloved franchise.
Yeah, and it's kind of a big deal because, like you said, it's the first new one in like 12 years.
Yeah.
And aside from, I was just looking at dates, so it looks like aside from the gap between original series and next gen, this is the longest gap there's been
Hmm.
between series.
Hmm.
So it does, yeah, like you were saying earlier, there's like a lot writing on it.
And I think too now, like they're if they get it right now, it could be
Mhm.
huge because like they're right now like nerdy things are cool. Marvel
Right.
comics and Batman and like Star Trek is cool, Star Wars is cool. It's not like it was in the 90s or even the early 2000s where Star Trek was like the nerdy show that the geeks watched. It's all of that
Right.
stuff is cool now. So if they get it right, they could have a huge following again.
Yeah, yeah, it could be really good.
Yeah.
Um, although I kind of, they're going to do some Star Trek. They should have just brought Enterprise back. That would have been
Yeah.
great. Everyone's like super old now, but that's okay.
I know that would be interesting. That would be really interesting.
I'm pretty sure, didn't everyone die in End of Enterprise? Not everyone, but like a lot of people.
Uh, a lot of people did. Yeah, I know. Archer survived, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
but
the end of Enterprise was weird. That like the whole thing with like Commander Riker
oh yeah.
like talking with Archer from the future, or no, he was like looking back on a hologram or something.
Yeah, it was something weird like that. When I rewatch it, I
Yeah.
kind of just I like to stop before that episode
Yeah.
and just pretend it ends before there.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame because like the story of the last episode is good, but
Mhm.
the framing device they used to tell it is totally unnecessary, and like I feel like they only used it so they
Weird.
could get Jonathan Frakes to be in the last episode and be like, hey, this is cool, and like, hey, this
Yeah,
legitimizes Enterprise,
yeah, no, I know what you mean.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, go ahead.
no, I don't know. What were you gonna say?
I'm not willing to, say super strong either way yet. Like, I mean, I'm not like in love with it yet, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
and I enjoy it, and I think I'm gonna stick with it you know, until it becomes really bad, which hopefully it won't.
I'm going back and forth on Michael a bit, but I
Yeah.
definitely love the idea, like similar to Worf,
Hmm.
raised in a different culture, a human raised as Vulcan.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I think that's cool.
so yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think it'll should be interesting.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, and
Hopefully.
hopefully what?
Just hopefully it ends up good.
Yeah, yeah, I hope so too. I mean, even if it doesn't end up like a Star Trek, I'll probably still watch it just because it's cool. I'll just like pretend it's not Star
Right.
Trek, you know? It's just a cool sci-fi show. But I'm hoping it does end up like a good Star Trek because it could be, kind of like rebooting, not rebooting,
Reviving?
yeah, reviving the franchise in like in a direction that the
Yeah.
movies didn't really take, and
Yeah, the movies kind of felt just like one-offs, I guess.
yeah, and they were like you said, they were very like action heavy and like kind of like, hey, let's focus on the fact that Kirk is a cocky ladies man and like and
Right.
explosions.
And
And
yeah.
and which is fun, but like it doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. There was no like wrestling with moral dilemmas or you know
Yeah. No, I think yeah, I think it could be good. I would love it if because obviously they can't have any like characters the same, but it'd be nice if they brought in like if Jeffrey Combs was on it. That'd be amazing.
yeah.
I mean, he's been on 2 other series,
No, yeah.
so, and it's not like he's super old. He could be somewhere. They did mention Andorians. He could
That's
be
true.
another Andorian.
That's true, they
'cause he's
did.
so good at it, and they're my favorite.
He could be like what's his name? What was his character's name? I can't remember.
Shran.
Shran. He could be like Shran's grandfather or something.
No, it would be
No.
like grandson, right?
No, Shran, wait. Shran was the Next Generation, right?
No, Shran was Enterprise.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Okay, yeah. So that wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, like I'd name my car after someone from Next Generation.
Ouch.
No, you just know it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's yeah. I get the characters confused a lot. So I guess
Yeah, but that would be awesome.
that would be interesting. Well, yeah, he could play, a descendant of Shran. Just like, I
Yeah.
mean, he doesn't
Or
necessarily have to be the same age as Shran was in Enterprise.
how long? I don't even know how long Andorians live. Maybe he could be Shran. Or wait, did
That's
Shran die?
oh, you
Shran
might
might
have.
died.
He might have.
Crap.
It's been a long time since I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Well, they
But
definitely mentioned Andorians, so I feel
oh,
like
they did, yeah.
maybe we will at least see some Andorians because I just love them. And we only saw them in Enterprise, right?
um, I don't know enough about Star Trek to say, but I think you might be right. I don't recall them being mentioned in any of the other ones. I'm trying to think like back through, Next Generation and Voyager, and I've only seen a couple episodes of Deep Space Nine. So
It's
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if it comes up on like the Memory Alpha wiki.
Yeah. Well, I'm not
Um,
seeing anything on Wikipedia about Shran dying.
oh,
Says, oh no, the final episode of Enterprise takes place a few years in Enterprise's future, where Shran has a wife and a daughter.
oh right, the snow Andorian.
What?
I don't know. There's like this species of like white Andorians who live in the snow. There was an episode with that.
Oh, okay. I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to. That's,
Yeah, that
that's
was
the
a good
thing
one.
with universes like Star Trek. Like if you don't like study it, it's hard to remember all the details,
Right. Yeah, there's so many.
which is really cool to me. Like I'm totally okay with not knowing every little thing about Star Trek because like every time I learn something new, it's like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's like you said, it's such a broad
Yeah.
universe and stuff. It's definitely, yeah, let's see. I'm looking. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at the wiki. It seems like Andorians were only in Enterprise.
Hmm.
So that would be kind of cool
Yeah.
if we saw them, especially like maybe the little antenna would be even snappier. As we have better technology now.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Or they
okay.
might ruin them.
Oh,
What do
I
you
know.
think?
Make them look different for some reason.
Yeah.
It says, in 1997 in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, in one episode, they were mentioned, but they didn't gain
Mm.
considerable exposure until Enterprise. So I guess they were
Oh,
just kind of
okay.
like, one of the other uh, sentient races out there,
Yeah. They
or
were like
intelligent
they
races.
existed as a race, but they weren't really
Yeah.
shown, so to speak.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, that'll be good. I would keep watching it just for that. um, but yeah, I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I'm definitely not
Yeah.
writing it off yet.
Oh no, no, definitely not.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, one thing I noticed is the title credits for Discovery. They looked very
Mhm.
similar to me. They reminded me a lot of the title credits for Enterprise, where it's kind of like
Yes.
sketches and like yeah, like engineering diagrams.
Yeah, that hit me immediately as well because one of
Yeah.
the I always loved the opening to
Oh,
Enterprise.
yeah, me too. Yep.
So I kind of like that they it definitely seemed to take from that,
Yeah.
like, oh, we're going back, you
Yeah.
know, sort
Yep.
of a nostalgia thing. So yeah, I definitely liked that.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
cool. Um, oh yeah, the new. So did you ever watch Stargate?
I've seen a few episodes and I saw the movie.
So the way the Klingons look really reminds me of the Unas from Stargate. It's
Oh yeah, yeah. I think
do
I
you
know what you're
remember
talking about.
yeah, like Daniel made friends with that one like Shaka or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know, it's just something about like cuz they don't have any hair anymore and they're like kind of I don't know, just the way and the way they not act, but the way they speak
Yeah.
cuz
Yeah.
it's less I feel like it doesn't flow as well.
It yeah, as like other
Yeah,
as like
other
later incantations of Klingon, you mean?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something more clumsy about it.
Yeah, more guttural maybe. And that could be also an influence of the Federation.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder
It's like
also too if it's just because the actors have those false teeth in their mouth.
that could be. Well, they had false teeth in other ones, didn't they? Or no?
I'm trying to. I don't think as pronounced. I mean, like
That's true.
Worf didn't have human-looking teeth, but like he didn't have like teeth bulging out of his mouth.
That's true. Yeah. And I think the noses are a little different too, so that probably makes it
Yeah,
trickier.
yeah.
So.
One thing I did find interesting, and this seems like it was kind of a risky move for them, having um so many continuous minutes of just Klingon talking and requiring subtitles. Like
Yeah.
for a TV show, that's that's really risky. A lot of TV is designed around being able to get the story by just listening, because like
Hmm.
it used to be like it used to be a thing where you write around the fact that people are going to have the TV on and be like doing the dishes or eating dinner or not
Right.
constantly fixed looking at the screen. So the scripts were designed to like you could get most of the story just by listening, not having to look at the screen. But like there were long segments where you had to look at the screen to read the subtitles, which is
Yeah.
different for a TV show.
And I also feel like that's different from Star Trek itself too, because I feel like other times, like even when it's just Klingons, they've kind of thrown in a few Klingon words and then just gone back to
Yeah.
English. Like, okay, like you're just assuming, which most shows do. Like, okay, you're just assuming now that they're speaking this other language.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting that yeah, I did notice that it's a lot of like just full Klingon,
Yeah.
um, which is, I mean, it's kind of a cool choice. I do like that.
I think it's cool. I like it. It. Well, actually, I don't know. I mean, I do like it. I think it's
Yeah.
cool. But on the other hand, it's kind of like it takes you out of the Klingon only scenes a little bit, because then you don't feel like you're there as
Mm,
like in the thing, because you can't understand what they're saying. So
right.
like it makes it when you're with the Federation people and they're talking to the Klingons and the Klingons need subtitles. Like you can kind of identify with the Federation because like okay, they can't understand them really very well either. And it's just kind of
Right.
I guess it just kind of reminds you that like, oh yeah, this is a TV show because I'm reading subtitles, but But it
It's
is
true,
neat from
yeah.
like a realism, I guess, from realism in
Yeah.
Star Trek. It makes more sense because like, why would they speak English when they're only talking to other Klingons?
Yeah, and I think it might be part of just like I feel, maybe we hold TV to higher standards now, because
Hmm.
like again going back to like Game of Thrones, I mean they have like the Dothraki, that's like a whole friggin' language, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I'm wondering if TV writers feel less like they can take that easy out.
I think you're right. Yeah, and I think too the idea of people watching TV while they do other stuff, I think is less valid nowadays with big shows. Like I mean, there's so many shows
Yeah,
that it's not like just sitcoms on TV now. It's
yeah,
there's like Gotham and Game of Thrones and Star Trek and Supernatural and like all kinds of like long form story shows, if that makes sense.
yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a great age for television.
Yeah, I mean, no, really. Like, I was just talking. I recorded a podcast last night with my buddy Adam and with Corey Davis talking about the new It movie,
Mm,
and that came up too with how like there's so much good TV now. It's hard to keep up with everything because we were talking about like scary shows on TV and stuff, and like yeah,
yeah,
there's a lot of good TV out right now.
and sci-fi too, especially. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
just. I mean, did you get a chance to see The Expanse?
No, I wanted to,
Um,
but it's not free on Prime. You have to, or
oh,
maybe no, you can't download it. So I'll have to watch it when I have uh, you know, at home.
yeah, when you have like more time. Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
that's like fantastic.
yeah, I've
I
heard really
mean,
good things about that.
and that's just kind of like I feel like, um, that's like where we're at now. We can make these like ridiculous, sprawling sci-fi shows,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
which is great.
yeah, and I think too part of that is like well like and they're all coming out on these like streaming services.
Yeah,
So there's no it's not anymore like with it was with cable where it's like okay if we put this risky show on at 8 o'clock, well then we have to move this sure bet but lower quality show to a different time slot. Like that's not a concern anymore. It's like we'll just put both of them on. And then
yeah, absolutely.
so I feel like it's much easier to take a risk on a risky show nowadays, and
Yeah.
because then you're not taking anything away from the show that's lesser quality but that you know everyone's gonna kind of like.
Yeah. I don't know, probably still just a little too early to say, but there's definitely potential,
I mean, it's 2 episodes, and hopefully,
which is true of any show, yeah.
yeah, yeah, and hopefully it's good, and it's the first 2 episodes of like a 6 or 7 series or season show. Um,
Yeah,
but
that'd be
yeah,
great.
I feel like with the first 2 episodes also they aired, well, quote unquote aired, um, on the same night. So like
Oh, okay.
I think they were kind of both. You kind of got to take them as one episode, and it's the introduction. They're trying to draw people in. If you think about it like a
Yeah.
movie, this was basically like the first 10 minutes of a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean, like the first like 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine were brutal. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not writing it off.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I look forward to seeing where it goes.
yep, yeah, me too. Um, all right, cool. Well, I think that's good. My voice is starting to die. uh, Thanks for being on.
Alright.
It's always fun.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, this is fun.
yep.
And it made me watch the show, so that was good.
Oh, good. Cool. Cool. Uh, Thanks again for being on. To our listeners, thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe, and you'll be notified when we upload our next podcast. Good night.